These are 20 lessons from Think and Grow Rich that changed how I think about money and hopefully can do the same for you. Be more like Jake Paul. All right, before you click off, this is actually an idea that really changed everything for me. And it is this idea of being hyper obsessed and believing in one specific goal for a long period of time. See, a lot of people don't have a clear goal. I know I didn't for a really long time. I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have one specific thing that I was shooting for. And therefore, I didn't really make a lot of progress. And this book really stresses the idea of deciding on one thing that is like your purpose, really focusing on one specific thing, chasing that and having that be your only goal in life. And if you can chase one thing for multiple years, it's most likely going to happen. This is kind of what Jake Paul does. He has the goal to be like the heavyweight champion or whatever, but he's chasing boxing, one thing, and somebody who shouldn't be at the level that he's at based on like a lot of things is somehow there. If you look at Mr. Beast, if you look at Tom Brady, most of them have one clear obsession that they dedicated their life to one thing and became masters at it and rose to the top to have unbelievable success. And another thing that people do is they stop 3 feet from gold. He tells this story of someone who had a mine and he was mining for gold and he stopped because he couldn't hit anything. It was years he was trying. And then he sold all his equipment and the person who bought it went and had it like surveyed or whatever. Anyways, it turned out he had stopped about 3 feet from getting a gold mine and just would have completely changed his life. And I know so many people, including myself, try things. If we don't have immediate success, we give up on them. And it's been the 1 or 2 things that I haven't given up on that have ended up being my, gold mine. Like I had 3 years of losing money on YouTube and I kept going anyways. And now I've been able to have a lot of growth and success and my life's been changed because I didn't give up during those hard times. And then of course, no doesn't mean no. I know that doesn't sound great, but just because people say that you can't rent out the pyramids doesn't mean you can't rent out the pyramids. Just because somebody tells you no does not mean that it's not possible. It doesn't mean that you're not able to get that thing. It might mean you have to be more creative, you have to do something else, but ultimately most things that you want to do are probably possible. You might have to be more creative, it might be harder for you than somebody else, but just because somebody says no doesn't really mean a ton. You actually don't have bad luck. I used to see myself as pretty unlucky because a lot of things around me seemed unlucky. I didn't graduate high school. I didn't really have any skills. I was cleaning office buildings. I just didn't generally have a bunch of luck in general. But partly through reading this book, I was able to shift my mindset because it really just talked about that. If people believe they have bad luck, most likely they will. And I now believe that I have good luck, even though I don't really believe in luck. But I have taken control of my mind, which is a huge theme of this book. And I have decided that I can look at almost anything in a positive way, and I can make that decision in real time over and over again to see things as positive. Like I just kind of believe that anything I do will succeed if I try hard enough. And therefore I try really hard at a lot of things. And because I try really hard at a lot of things, believing that I can do it, I can do a lot of things. So whether it's in business or getting cut off in traffic, I just look at the positive side of things and just try to keep moving forward and progressing and believing that I can do stuff. And even though that sounds kind of corny, if you go into a business believing it's gonna fail, it's most likely gonna fail. If you go in and you say like, no matter what the heck happens here, I'm gonna figure it out, you're gonna figure it out. I just have a little bit of blind, over ambitious belief, and the times that do fail, it's just a learning opportunity, so it works out. And along that note, don't wait for a definite plan. All of the times I've had success, I've just gone into something without planning, without too much research. I've just attacked it and made progress. And as you start working towards something, you start to get inspiration randomly. You start to come across more stuff about it. Like I didn't know what a thumbnail was when I started making YouTube videos. I literally didn't know that editing was a thing or thumbnails were a thing. I just started randomly taking action towards something I wanted, and I found out everything along the way. I know other people who've been wanting to start YouTube channels for 5+ years, but because they get stuck in the planning phase, they've never posted a video. So if there is something you actually want, just start taking action and figure it out as you go. Don't wait for all the stars to align because they never will. And then of course, we all know that knowledge is worthless. Knowledge will not attract money if that is your goal, which for most of us, probably, if you're watching this video, I don't know, I assume. But knowledge won't attract money unless it is organized, it is focused, and action is taken on it towards a specific goal. I know some really smart people, way smarter than me, but because it's general knowledge, it's based on a bunch of different areas instead of hyper-focused, obsessed knowledge in one area, they honestly don't make a lot of money, which is totally fine. But for me, I don't really care to know a bunch of random facts about things. I don't need to be an expert in every field. But because I've mastered one field, making money has become a lot easier because you are rewarded for having hyper-specific knowledge, not general knowledge. And even that, you're only rewarded if you actually take action and apply it. Then of course we have synthetic imagination. This is incredible. I love this. By the way, if you don't know anything about this guy, he interviewed 500 of the most successful people at the time. Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, spent 20 years gathering knowledge. And while some of it's outdated and a little crazy, a lot of it is very true. And it's actually what I do every single day. I literally think for a living, and that makes me rich. It's insane. I didn't realize how much this book impacted me until I just reread it. So super cool. But let's talk about synthetic imagination. This is the type of imagination that we need to use. We gather a lot of knowledge. Everything I know, everything you probably know was gathered from somebody else, from a book that I read, from podcasts that I listened to, a YouTube video, a course that I took, a mastermind, something. I gained this knowledge, and then what I am rewarded for is synthetic knowledge. I take little parts of all of this and I piece it together into something, and that is what I do. That is the type of imagination that is very valuable. It's taking a bunch of knowledge from different areas and honing it towards one activity. And that's how we kind of invent things. We're not taking, almost nobody can, make something out of thin air, complete real imagination. It's mostly reorchestrating things that we know into something new and useful for people. Sounded like a lot of words, but that's mostly what I do. Next up, we have to find a mastermind. I've been able to have a mastermind for the last couple of years. It's completely changed my life. It's a bunch of people who make more money than me, who are generally smarter than me in the areas I want to be smarter than, and also other areas. And I can present my ideas to them, and they can help me along the path, saving me years of studying and work, and they connect me with people. It's been absolutely amazing. That's why I go to as many conferences as I can. I try to meet new people who are in my specific field. And this is something the book really recommends. Just starting with your local friend group, with finding other people who are obsessed about the same thing you're obsessed about, on the same journey, on the same path, slightly ahead of you, slightly behind you, about the same. You want to find people who you can learn from, who you can grow together, bring each other up, and kind of take, 5 people's worth of knowledge and smush it all together, and then take what's best out of that synthetic imagination, and use it towards yourself. You don't need to pay for a mastermind. You can find free groups, you can meet people online, or you can pay for it. But either way, surrounding yourself with other people on the same journey and who are ahead of you to show what's possible and save you making a bunch of mistakes along the way has completely changed my life. Definitely would recommend it if you're any type of entrepreneur or anything like that. You have to be willing to trade. Here's the thing. I am not willing to be a billionaire. I refuse to be a billionaire. It's not gonna happen. I don't want it. But do you wanna know why? They might be yeah, okay, well, it's because you don't know how to be a billionaire. But it's here's the thing. In order to have extreme success, let's look at Tom Brady. In order to be at the top of the top of the top, you need to give up everything. You need to give up being home with your family. You need to give up nights, weekends. You need to study this thing. You need to obsess your entire life over one thing to be the top of the top of the top. And if you're not willing to do that, just accept it. Just say it's okay, or you're not willing to make that trade. For me, I am willing to make certain trades to get to a high enough level that my life becomes a lot easier. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about buying small things. I don't have to worry about taking vacations or traveling. I don't have to worry about the small things. And I feel after you get past that enough stage, then anything beyond that is okay, I don't need a private jet. I don't need 3 houses. I don't need any of this stuff. But the trade to get from where I am to that is I'm not willing to miss any of my kids' lives in order to go to the next level. So anywhere you want to go, it's got a price. Are you willing to pay the price? Because if not, don't try. Don't waste your time doing it, because there is a price for success. You have to give up something. You have to give up your nights, your weekends. You have to give up watching TV, playing video games. You have to give up your other side hobbies. You have to give up some health or some relationships. You're gonna have to give something up in order to have it. And are you willing to make that trade? Weak desire brings weak results. Well, I'm all for being content with what you have. I'm very content with what I have, incredibly blessed. I have strong desires for a few things. And part of those are selfish. I know as I continue to grow, I will be happier and enjoy myself because I enjoy myself when I'm growing. But I know some people who kind of want things, but it's not bad enough. And when the years of failing happen, they just can't get through it because they don't have a strong enough desire, strong enough why. And so if you're trying to do anything, if you're trying to get abs, if you're trying to be better in your relationship, if you're trying to make more money or start a business, if you don't have a strong reason and desire and a real obsession for that thing, it's just probably not gonna happen. So an exercise I've been doing is like writing down a list of things I really don't want, the things I really do want, and trying to figure out what is that key thing that I can go back to, that when the times are hard, when I'm not motivated, when I don't feel like it, I can draw on this because this is why I'm doing this whole thing. I want this desired outcome more than whatever pain I have to go through to get there. Because most ideas die. So many people say, oh, I had a great idea for this business. I have a great idea for a YouTube channel. I have a great idea for a book. I had that idea before. Somebody else made it ahead of me. Man, I had that idea, you know? And that's what happens. Everybody can have an idea. It's worthless. So what? You had the best idea. You had the idea for Netflix. You had the idea for Apple phones. If you didn't do the thing, it does not matter. So stop talking about it and do it. This is something that I used to struggle with, and another point the book makes is that the people who talk the loudest about what they're gonna do, how they're gonna change their life, how they're gonna make this company, whoever talks about it the most, they're generally not doers, right? They're talkers. And the people who don't say anything, they're just like shut up and do the work, those are the people who make real change. And sometimes you talk about it because you're so obsessed about it, but there are people who just talk. And now when I have goals, when I have things I'm working on, I generally don't share it too much. For some reason I share it on here, but I don't talk about it to anybody that I know, because I found out that when I talk about what I'm working on, I'm much less likely to take action, because you almost get a sense of accomplishment from just talking about it instead of actually doing it. So don't tell people what you're up to. Don't brag about it. Don't talk about it. Do it and then talk about it. Show them. Envision it working. This kind of sounds a little silly, and like I'm not a big fan of talking about it, I guess. All right, here's the thing. I started to do this like a couple of years ago, and it's really, really helped me. So I just like envisioning shooting a basketball into a hoop can like actually help you shoot better. I've started acting like I already have the thing that I have, or actually thinking about what it's gonna look like. Last weekend, a couple of days ago, I preached a sermon, and I actually stood at that desk right there, and I envisioned what it would look like to talk in front of a room full of people. It's my biggest fear in the world. But I envisioned it going well. I envisioned myself not shaking, not being too scared. And I kind of like put myself through what would happen if, you know, I seized up. But like, I just kind of like envisioned it all working. And when I got up there, but despite it being my biggest fear, it went like pretty well actually. Like ultimately it doesn't matter how I am, but it was me conquering my biggest fear through going through it multiple times. And when I work on my businesses or whatever, I envision like, what would somebody who's making $1 million a year do in this situation? Or if I was making $1 million a year, what would I do here? And I can like almost get advice from myself or from like what I know I should be doing just by assuming that it's working, or like, yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's kind of like hard to put into words, but like I've been doing this and it really, really helps. Like I have a few more points that really helped me real quick, but if you're thinking of reading this and you have short form, I'll leave a link down below. You can get a discount and stuff. You could just listen to the like the summary of it, which is super helpful. But this book has really helped me, because right now, what I actually do for a living is I think about things. I gather knowledge through all the books and podcasts and meeting people and talking to people and doing things. And I put that together into a video. Like I had an idea to read this book and turn it into a video. I am now taking action off of that idea. I organized it, I put it into a thing. So that's the physical activity. I'm then going to present that out into the world and hopefully make a return on it. So it's literally thinking, organizing, producing, reward. I think and I grow rich. That is what I do for a living. That is what creators do. We come up with new things for a living, which is incredible. I love being a YouTuber. If you're interested, I have a free mini course down below. Get started. You probably suffer from the 6 basic fears. If you want to know what they are, I'll tell you. This is the fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love of someone, fear of old age, and fear of death. Pretty much all other fears fall underneath those. But here's the cool thing. All of those things are mostly just thoughts, right? We have the thought that we could die and therefore we become afraid of it. We have this thought that we're gonna run out of money and therefore we have a scarcity mindset. I struggled with that for years and years and years. I still kind of struggle with it. We have thoughts of that we're gonna get old someday. We have all these fears in our head that are based on future projections and not on reality. Very occasionally are they actually like, I'm about to get hit by a car, I'm actually scared. Like that's like 0.25% of what actually happens. But the cool thing is we can actually control our inputs. So we can let everybody control what's coming into our head by social media, the news, everything, your friends all talking in, and that can make you scared of stuff. It can make you nervous, not confident. It can make you a bunch of different things. Or we can take control and choose what we're putting into our brains. We can choose to just read positive books that make us more self-confident, that make us feel better. We can choose to do hard things so that we become more self-confident. Like, I get into a cold plunge, not because I don't know if there's any health benefits really. I do it because it's really hard and it sucks, but every time I do that, I'm like, oh, this next thing that sucks, if I can do a cold plunge, I can do that. And like, a lot of things I do are specifically because they make me stronger mentally, and that helps me through the hard times. This is gonna be hard times, it's not gonna avoid that. But if you have one clear goal that you are focused on, you put your entire life energy into one thing, obsess about it, master it, that's where you can start to see real success. This book also has a self-analysis test, which was really, really helpful for me. Starting off, do you complain often about feeling bad? If so, what is the cause? Are you sarcastic and offensive in your conversation? Do you like your occupation? If not, why? There's like 30 other questions in here. I'll make a PDF that you can download down below, kind of run through this self-analysis totally free. It was really helpful for me, so I hope they don't mind if I steal that and kind of add to it a couple that I liked. Anyways, that was Think and Grow Rich. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.